The whole thing has been a charade to hide the workings that exist behind it. To keep people distracted, to keep people searching, to keep people occupied, and to keep people from ever really looking behind the curtain. You know, people have to step away from this system. They have to step away from anything that causes them to operate outside of their moral compass. Once you've picked up your pack of truth, it's really difficult to go back and pick up your suitcase of lies. You really can't do it. Once you've taken that red pill, you can't go back to living the way you were living before. It's simply not possible. And there's only one solution, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one solution to the mess that we're in, and that's for people to shift their moral compass. We are at a very important time in history, folks. We're at a real turning point, but we really do have a long way to go to see any type of real awakening on this earth. You know, there's no need for you to go and investigate why the world is in the state that it's in. It's in the state that it's in because it's run by criminals and pedophiles and the human race is being farmed. That's why the world is in the state that it's in. And it maintains this state because everybody has their head down rabbit holes trying to become the latest guru. Everyone's trying to sensationalize their news accounts by telling people the latest headlines about stuff they already know. No one is providing any way out for anybody, or very few people are anyway. And people who do see a way out or even hear the way out, they often don't want to put that into action because it requires self-application. It requires people getting involved themselves and realizing that they're not going to be saved. No one is coming to rewrite this script. We have to rewrite it ourselves if we are to change anything. But people don't want that. They want someone to come along and save them. But the thing is, folks, that nobody can until mankind itself and each member of mankind chooses to acknowledge their moral compass and step into that moral compass. Nothing is going to change. Until people start doing the right thing in all that they do, until people understand that it is by allowing the evil that controls this world to hold sway, by allowing people to convince us to step outside of our moral compass, by tolerating the evil that exists in the world, we create the world that we live in, and we have created this world. We've allowed the people who control this world to maintain their control simply by our tolerance of people doing the wrong thing simply because someone wrote down on paper that they should do that. You know, until we change our moral compass, nothing's going to change. Until we start doing the right thing, nothing is going to change. It doesn't matter if people are still prepared to operate within black law rather than do the right thing, then it's game over right from the beginning. And most of the people that would probably crucify him would be members of the independent media and so-called truth community. We have to change our moral compass, and if we do that, if we step into our moral compass, the world changes around us. I mean, once you've picked up your pack of truth, it's really difficult to go back and pick up your suitcase of lies. You really can't do it. Once you've taken that red pill, you can't go back to living the way you were living before. It's simply not possible. You know, you get to a point where you see the world for what it is and you see what's coming down the pipe and you have to say something. You can't do nothing, because if you do nothing, you become part of the problem. And it's very difficult to do that once you're awake. You can't go back to being part of the problem, because you know that before you're awake, you're a part of the problem anyway. You just didn't realize it because you're asleep. You didn't realize how much non-participation in this system, non-participation in understanding what the system is, contributes to the perpetuation of the system. But it's like Plato's allegory of the cave. It's very difficult to tell people that which they simply can't see. And very often they can't see it because they don't have access to the knowledge, and they don't have access to it because they're kept so busy on the treadmill. So that's the best thing we in the independent media can do, and those who are awake can do, rather than going down the rabbit hole and continuing to look at all the symbols and look at all the gematria and look at all the numbers and find all the secret codes. Find a way of explaining the glamour to the people around you. Find a way of explaining the spell that they're under to them in a way that they can understand. Because once you see it, once you know it, once you're awake and once you can see how the world is run, why do you need to keep going down the rabbit hole? We already know what's going on. We know we're being farmed. We know we're being harvested. We know there's a very, very dark energy that exists here due to people's ignorance of that fact and due to people's inability to be able to formulate any cohesive response to it. So that's what we can do. We can find a way to concisely and effectively just crack that shell on the people around you. You know, people have to step away from this system. They have to step away from anything that causes them to operate outside of their moral compass. It doesn't matter how much you're being paid for your work. The money is irrelevant. The money is simply a form of scarcity. That's what it's for. Money is put there to put people in a state of scarcity and to reward them when they toe the line. And towing the line usually means developing far more effective ways of enslaving the population, as what this person is doing in this drone software he's developing for this game. The whole thing has been a charade to hide the workings that exist behind it, to keep people distracted, to keep people searching, to keep people occupied, and to keep people from ever really looking behind the curtain. Of course, most people don't want to look behind the curtain because they are afraid of what lays there. Many people are deeply offended by pedophile activity, and rightly so. And they are horrified to learn the extent to which this is carried out. This group of occultists have taken this to a fine art, and they very much enjoy what they do. And this is a place that people simply don't want to go. It's a reality that people simply are not prepared to acknowledge. The problem, of course, in the truth movement, or whatever you can call it, the independent media as it's become today, is that so many people are not looking behind the veil. So many people are just waiting for the next news story so they can put their conspiracy slant on it and present it to the world and put the world in fears, and they're all screaming, look what's coming, and crying wolf. But no one's looking at what the solution is. And there's only one solution, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one solution to the mess that we're in, and that's for people to shift their moral compass. That's for people to start doing the right thing and to stop supporting anything which is contributing to the slavery. I mean, we are at a very important time in history, folks. We're at a real turning point, but we really do have a long way to go to see any type of real awakening on this earth. To see any type of real shift, we've really got our work cut out for us. Because the system is coming online in leaps and bounds, it really is. No matter how much people claim there is a big awakening happening, sure, there's a lot of people becoming aware that something's terribly wrong, but they're not awake. Most of the people who are even speaking out against the system are not awake. They're only aware that there's something wrong. They're aware that they're living in a slavery system, but they're not prepared to look behind the veil. They don't really see what they're facing, and they don't really see what the solution is. And they don't see the urgency of people springing into action. You know, we really need to have people getting motivated and stepping into action against this system. And really, to step into action against the system, all you have to do is stop participating in the system. But people have to get motivated, and they have to stop supporting the system. It's the only way we're ever going to bring about any real change in the world, folks. We're not going to get it from someone coming to save us. We're not going to get it from anyone offering us a new system. We're not going to get it from voting a new face on the coin. It's just not going to happen. We have to look at things from a moral perspective and do what is right in what we do. Always engage in the action that is the right action. Don't engage in wrong action. And you're going to find that the world changes around you. And that's really all we need to do. It's really as simple as that. It's just difficult to get people to actually want to do it, because people have been trained to operate within the parameters that are given to them by the system. And this system is designed to find that little sociopathic, self-serving spark in people and amplify it and reward it. And that is a real problem. That's a lot of what causes the sleeping masses to stay asleep, because really that's the type of world that they're forced to live in. That's the type of mentality they're immersed in. And then those who do wake up to the fact that something's terribly wrong very often end up distracted with their head down a rabbit hole, being led down the garden path by all of the symbolism and numbers and esoteric signs and secret messages that are put there for that very reason. So it's very difficult to ever coordinate any response, and the esoteric symbols and signs and sigils and all the stuff they put there are very effective for dividing people, keeping people arguing amongst each other, saying they know what the signs mean, I know what the signs mean, you don't know what you're talking about, all of this sort of stuff, back and forth, tit for tat. Everybody thinks they've got the piece of the puzzle that's going to solve the riddle, but really it's just part of a bigger puzzle. And the entire puzzle is there for one reason and for one reason only, to keep you trying to piece it together rather than looking behind the veil.